Fat mail-order bride waited 3 days at the station until a girl said, "Will you marry my daddy?" Beatrice Walsh sits on her worn leather suitcase, her white wedding dress spread across her lap like a broken promise. The fabric is wrinkled now, stained with dust and tears she refuses to shed in public. 3 days. 3 days she's been waiting at this godforsaken train station for a Harold Mitchell to claim her as his bride. He's not coming. Everyone knows it. She knows it. But pride keeps her planted on that hard suitcase, while the town watches her humiliation like it's Sunday entertainment. Still waiting for your prince, Fatty? The voice cuts through the afternoon heat. Mrs. Henderson stands with 2 other women from town, their faces twisted with the kind of cruelty that comes from their own empty lives. He ain't coming. Can't you see that? Beatrice keeps her eyes on Harold's letters, reading the same promises for the 100th time. Love, home, a future together. Pretty words that mean nothing now. Maybe he took one look and ran. Can you blame him? Their laughter echoes off the station walls. Beatrice's fingers tighten on the yellowed paper, but she doesn't look up, won't give them the satisfaction of seeing how deep their words cut. Sheriff Dalton emerges from the station house, his badge catching sunlight like a warning. His eyes linger on Beatrice's body in a way that makes her skin crawl. She's dealt with men like him before, all false sympathy and wandering hands. Miss Walsh, this is unseemly. A woman alone, unchaperoned. I paid for my ticket here. I have every right to wait. For a man who clearly don't want you, the words hit harder coming from him. Official, final, like a judge passing sentence. Mr. Grayson, the station master, appears in his doorway. His wife has been feeding Beatrice table scraps for 3 days, but his patience is wearing thin. Bad for business, having a discarded woman camping on his platform. Miss, I can't let you stay much longer. People are starting to talk. Let them talk. It ain't proper. A lady in your situation. Even he can't bring himself to say it plain. Abandoned. Rejected. Unwanted. The sun dips toward the horizon, painting the sky the color of shame. Beatrice folds Harold's letters carefully, placing them back in her reticule. Maybe tomorrow she'll have the courage to burn them. Maybe tomorrow she'll find the strength to leave this place and start over somewhere else. A small voice breaks through her dark thoughts. Are you the lady waiting for a husband? Beatrice looks up to find a child watching her. 8 years old, maybe 9, thin as a rail, with tangled brown hair and a dress more patches than original fabric. But her eyes are bright and curious, without the cruelty Beatrice has grown accustomed to. I suppose I am. My daddy needs a wife. The innocent declaration cuts through Beatrice's despair like sunlight through storm clouds. Behind the girl, a man emerges from the shadows. Tall, weathered by work and worry. His clothes are clean but worn, his boots scuffed but well-maintained. He looks embarrassed by his daughter's boldness. Lucy, you can't just ask strangers. Why not? She's pretty. She's nice. She smells like flowers. The man's face burns red. I'm sorry, miss. My daughter, she don't understand how things work. But Beatrice sees something in his weathered face that Harold never showed her, even in his letters. Kindness. Real kindness. Not the pretty words men use to get what they want. What's your name? Jacob Carver. This is Lucy. I'm Beatrice Walsh. We know. The whole town's been talking. The honesty should sting, but somehow it doesn't. Not from him. Lucy steps closer, studying Beatrice with the frank curiosity of childhood. You've been crying. A little. Daddy cries sometimes too, when he thinks I'm sleeping. Jacob's jaw tightens. Lucy, it's true. You miss Mama. I miss her too. The admission hangs between them. Real grief, honestly spoken. Not like Harold's flowery promises about healing her loneliness. This man knows what loss feels like. Sheriff Dalton clears his throat, annoyed by the interruption to his sport. Jacob, take the girl home. No place for children to be bothering decent folks. She's not bothering me. Beatrice surprises herself with the strength in her voice. She stands, smoothing her skirts, meeting Dalton's leer with steady eyes. Matter of fact, She's the first person in 3 days to treat me like a human being. Lucy beams at the compliment. Jacob looks at Beatrice, really looks at her, not seeing the woman the town mocks, but someone who might understand loneliness as deeply as he does. My wife died 2 years ago. Birthing complications. Been trying to raise Lucy on my own, but what? It ain't easy. Work at the mill, double shifts most days just keep food on the table. Lucy needs more than I can give her. She needs a mother. Yes. The word hangs simple and honest between them. No pretty phrases about love at first sight. No promises of fairy tale endings. Just truth, plain and unvarnished. Mrs. Henderson and her friends drift closer, drawn by the drama unfolding. Sheriff Dalton's hand rests on his gun belt, a reminder of the power he holds over all of them. Lucy tugs on her father's sleeve. Daddy, ask her. Ask me what? The child looks up at Beatrice with eyes full of hope and desperate need. The same expression Beatrice sees in her own reflection these days. Two souls recognizing each other across the wreckage of their circumstances. Will you marry my daddy? The question cuts through the evening air like a prayer spoken aloud. Jacob's face burns with embarrassment, but he doesn't pull his daughter away. Instead, he waits for Beatrice's answer, his weathered hands trembling slightly at his sides. 3 days ago, Beatrice thought she knew what her future looked like. Harold Mitchell's wife. Settled and respectable. Safe. Now she stares into the earnest face of a child who sees her not as the fat woman nobody wanted, but as someone who might choose to love broken things and help them heal. The station platform stretches between her old life and whatever comes next. Harold's letters crinkle in her reticule. The town watches and waits for her next humiliation. But Lucy's question hangs in the air like possibility itself, transforming shame into something that might eventually become hope. Lucy's question hangs in the evening air like smoke from a distant fire. Will you marry my daddy? The words echo off the station walls while Jacob's face burns red as sunset. He doesn't pull his daughter away, though. Instead, he studies Beatrice with the careful attention of a man who's learned to recognize genuine goodness in a world that trades mostly in lies. I'm sorry. She's just a child. She don't understand. Understand what? That I've been waiting here like a fool. That marriage ain't a game. But Lucy steps forward, her small hand reaching for Beatrice's skirt with the fearless honesty that only children possess. Her voice cuts through adult complications like a knife through butter. Daddy cries at night. I hear him, and you've been crying too. The truth of it silences both adults. Beatrice feels something shift inside her chest, a recognition she wasn't prepared for. Through Lucy's eyes, she's not the fat woman Harold rejected. She's someone who understands what it means when sadness lives in your bones. Jacob looks at his daughter, then back at Beatrice. His weathered hands twist the brim of his hat, like he's wringing out his courage. I worked double shifts at the grain mill. Been doing it since Marie died. That's my wife. Was my wife. How long? 2 years. Birthing complications. She was trying to give me a son. The admission hangs heavy between them. Real grief, not the pretty sorrow people write about in books. The kind that leaves you hollow and desperate, working yourself to death just to keep moving forward. I can't promise you much. House needs fixing. I work long hours. Lucy's a handful. Beatrice looks at the child clinging to her skirt, then at the man who's offering her honesty instead of fairy tales. No pretty words about love conquering all. Just truth, plain and simple. And I'm fat and plain and abandoned. We both know what we're getting. Maybe that's better than pretty lies. The words settle between them like a handshake, an agreement built on broken pieces instead of perfect dreams. Harold promised her beauty and romance. Jacob offers her reality and partnership. Sheriff Dalton clears his throat, his patience running thin. He's been enjoying Beatrice's humiliation, but this unexpected turn threatens his entertainment. Time to move along, Jacob. Take the girl home. But Jacob doesn't move. Something has changed in his posture, in the way he looks at Beatrice. She sees the moment he makes his choice. She's staying. Says who? Says me. Dalton's hand drifts toward his gun belt, a casual threat that carries the weight of corrupt authority. The station platform suddenly feels smaller, more dangerous. You got no claim on her, Carver. She's free for the taking. No, she ain't. Jacob steps between Dalton and Beatrice, his body forming a shield. In this moment, both he and Beatrice realize something important. They're not choosing each other from desperation. They're choosing each other from recognition. Two people who've been broken by loss and are willing to risk being broken again for the chance at something real. Mrs. Henderson and her friends drift closer, sensing drama like vultures circling carrion. The whole town will know about this by morning. Another piece of gossip to chew over with their morning coffee. You defending her? This cast-off nobody wanted. The insult hits its mark, but instead of crumbling, Beatrice feels something harden inside her chest. Anger, maybe, or just the final death of shame. I'm defending my wife. The word hits like thunder across the platform. Wife. Spoken before any ceremony, any vows, any legal papers. But it carries more weight than Harold's flowery letters ever did. Dalton's face darkens. His hand closes around his gun grip. Your wife? You ain't even courted her proper. Don't need courting to recognize a good woman. Beatrice steps beside Jacob, not behind him. Lucy presses between them like she's claiming her place in whatever family they're building from the ruins of their separate tragedies. Harold Mitchell's loss is my gain. The simple declaration sends ripples through the gathering crowd. Beatrice feels something she hasn't felt in 3 days. She belongs somewhere, with these people who see her as she is and choose her anyway. Dalton realizes he's losing control of the situation. His authority depends on keeping people afraid, isolated, vulnerable. But Jacob and Beatrice together present a united front he can't easily break. This ain't over, Carver. Yes, it is. Jacob's voice carries finality. He's made his choice, claimed his ground. Dalton can push, but it will cost him, in front of witnesses, with the whole town watching. The sheriff holsters his gun with visible reluctance, his face twisted with frustrated rage. But he knows when to retreat and when to fight. This isn't his moment. We'll see about that. He stalks away, his boots echoing off the wooden platform, like a promise of future trouble. Mrs. Henderson and her friends follow, already composing the story they'll spread tomorrow. The platform empties except for 3 of them, Jacob, Beatrice, and Lucy, an unlikely family born from necessity and desperation, but bound by something stronger than convenience. You sure about this? Jacob asks. About me? About her? Beatrice looks at Lucy, still clinging to her skirt like an anchor, at Jacob, whose offer came with brutal honesty instead of empty promises, at the suitcase containing everything she owns in the world. I'm sure. It won't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is. Lucy tugs on Beatrice's hand. Does this mean you're coming home with us? I suppose it does. The child's smile could light up the darkening sky. She takes Beatrice's hand in one of hers, her father's hand in the other, forming a chain of connection that feels stronger than anything Beatrice has ever known. Jacob picks up her suitcase without being asked. The weight of her possessions, everything she brought to start a new life with Harold Mitchell, now serves a different purpose. A better one. They walk away from the station together, leaving behind the place of her humiliation for an uncertain but honest future. Behind them, the platform sits empty except for the echo of what might have been. Ahead lies Jacob's house, with its broken shutters and unmended fence. A place where real work waits, where love means daily choices instead of pretty words, where a child needs a mother and a man needs a partner, and a woman needs a home built on truth instead of lies. The 3 of them walk into the gathering darkness, bound together by circumstance, but choosing to make it something more. Behind them, the train station grows smaller. Ahead, their future waits to be written. Jacob's house sits at the end of a dirt road, modest and weathered but maintained with the careful attention of a man who takes pride in what little he has. As darkness settles around them, lamplight spills in the windows like a promise of warmth. The home tells its story in every detail. Clean but sparse. Mended clothes hung carefully on pegs. A child's drawings covering one wall, like prayers to keep loneliness away. It ain't much. It's honest, Beatrice steps inside and feels something she hasn't experienced since leaving her child at home. Belonging. Not the desperate clinging to Harold's empty promises, but the quiet recognition that she's found her place. Lucy tugs on her hand, eager to show off her domain. The girl's room is small but bright, filled with handmade toys and the careful touches of a father trying to be mother and father both. Mama's dress is in the trunk. Daddy keeps it there. Will you wear it when you marry him? The intimacy of the suggestion should feel wrong. Wearing a dead woman's wedding dress. Stepping into the shoes of someone she never knew. But Marie's presence in this house doesn't feel like a haunting. It feels like a blessing. A foundation rather than a barrier. If your daddy says it's all right, he will. Mama would want someone to wear it again. She was beautiful, but you're beautiful too. The child's matter-of-fact acceptance of death and love, existing side by side, carries a wisdom that shames most adults. Lucy has learned what it takes some people lifetimes to understand. Love doesn't end when someone dies. It just changes shape. Jacob prepares a simple meal while Beatrice helps Lucy wash her face and hands. The domestic routine feels natural, unforced. They fit together like puzzle pieces. Not perfectly, but purposefully. Each filling spaces the others didn't know were empty. Over supper, Lucy chatters about her day, her dreams, her memories of her mother. Jacob listens with the patient attention of a man who knows his daughter's words are precious, even the ordinary ones. Why didn't he come? Your first man. Jacob's question cuts through the comfortable quiet. Beatrice sets down her fork, considering her answer. I don't know. Maybe he saw me and changed his mind. His loss. The simplicity of Jacob's response carries more healing than hours of explanation could provide. He doesn't try to fix her pain or promise it will disappear. He just acknowledges it and moves forward, like a man who knows that life is built on accepting what is rather than mourning what isn't. After Lucy falls asleep, they sit on the front porch listening to night sounds, crickets and distant owls, the kind of peace Beatrice never knew she was missing until she found it. Tell me about her. About Marie. Jacob leans back in his chair, his voice soft with memory but not broken by it. She was small, smaller than you, but fierce when she needed to be. Wanted children more than anything. We tried for years before Lucy came. And the second baby? Boy, we lost them both. Her and him. His voice catches slightly, but he pushes through. She'd like you? How can you know that? Because Lucy likes you, and Lucy's got her mama's heart. The sound of hoofbeats breaks the peaceful moment. Sheriff Dalton rides into their yard with papers in his hand and trouble in his eyes. Behind him, Banker Wilhelm sits his horse like a man who's come to foreclose on happiness itself. Evening, Jacob. Miss Walsh. Dalton's voice drips false courtesy. Sorry to disturb your little arrangement, but the county has concerns. What kind of concerns? Child welfare, immoral cohabitation, questions about Miss Walsh's character. He unfolds official-looking documents. We're here to take custody of Lucy pending a proper investigation. Beatrice feels ice form in her stomach. They're going to tear apart this fragile family before it even has a chance to become real. But Jacob stands, his body blocking the doorway like a human shield. You ain't taking my daughter. It's not up to you anymore, Carver. The confrontation might have escalated into violence, but other figures emerge from the darkness. Mr. Grayson from the train station, Mrs. Henley from the general store, mill workers who know Jacob's character. The real community, not the corrupt officials trying to exercise power they don't deserve. Evening, Jacob. Grayson's voice carries authority that has nothing to do with badges or papers. Heard you were getting married. Came to witness. Witness what? Dalton demands. A wedding. Right here, right now. Mrs. Henley steps forward, her arms filled with wildflowers picked from her garden. Every bride needs flowers. The impromptu ceremony happens by lamplight on Jacob's front porch. No church, no preacher, just neighbors who understand that love doesn't wait for official approval. Do you take this woman to be your wife? Jacob looks into Beatrice's eyes and sees his future reflected there. Not perfect, but real. I do. Do you take this man to be your husband? Beatrice thinks of Harold's pretty lies, then looks at Jacob's honest face, at Lucy peeking out from behind the door, at the neighbors who came to protect what matters. I do. Lucy bursts onto porch, her nightgown fluttering like angel wings. Now we're a real family. The words seal their union better than any official document. Dalton crumples his papers, knowing he's been outmaneuvered by something stronger than corrupt authority, the power of people choosing to protect each other. Later, after the neighbors leave and the crisis passes, the three of them sit together in their simple home. Beatrice wears Marie's wedding dress, which fits her perfectly, not because of size, but because it was meant for a woman brave enough to love again after loss. Jacob holds Lucy while she sleeps, and Beatrice is beside them, finally understanding the truth Harold's letters could never contain. She was never meant for shallow promises and fairy tale endings. She was meant for this, the daily choice to love imperfect people in an imperfect world, to build something real from the broken pieces of what came before. The train station where she waited in shame has become the place where her real life began. Some women wait for love to find them. Others create love from whatever materials they have at hand. Tonight, surrounded by the family she never knew she was looking for, Beatrice finally understands the difference. Outside, the world continues its complicated dance of power and corruption. But inside Jacob's house, love looks exactly like what it is. Three people choosing each other, one day at a time, building something beautiful from the wreckage of their separate sorrows. This is what love actually looks like. Not pretty words and letters, but steady hands building a life together. Not promises of perfection, but the courage to try again despite everything that's gone wrong before. Harold Mitchell never came to the station, but his absence delivered Beatrice to exactly where she belonged.